The year was 1980. It would be a year when Mike Schmidt of the Philadelphia Phillies would win the Most Valuable Player award in the National League. For Schmidt and the Phils, it would also be the year when they would finally bring home a world championship. But it would not come before a whole lot of work had to go into it against the Houston Astros. 1980 and the National League playoffs. It was a down-to-the-wire finish.
Greg Luzinski powered the Phils to a relatively calm 3-1 win in the first game, but from there, things changed.
Things worked out well for us as we had hoped for and as we had expected, and it was a great ball game. I'm sure that it was a monumental game for us. We had to win that first game. We had good momentum coming into it, and we had to maintain that. For Bull to come through like he did tonight was very important for us. All the guys that have struggled throughout the course of the summer have fought hard to get back within their game, are starting to do that now, and we couldn't need them at a better time. So we're real proud of everybody with that.
Jose Cruz got the Astros back into the series the next night with this 10th inning single. And Houston went on to win the first of what turned out to be 4 consecutive extra inning games. Games that would be filled with controversy, rallies, high drama, even more rallies, and eventually heartbreak for one team and euphoria for another. The scene shifted to Houston for Game 3, where Joe Morgan put the Astros in an enviable position by leading off a tie game in the 11th inning with a triple. After 2 intentional walks loaded the bases, Denny Walling lifted a short fly ball to left, but Greg Luzinski's throw couldn't get pitch runner Rafael Landeskog, and the Astros had a 1-game lead. So Game 3 certainly had excitement, and Game 4 did too, but it also had controversy, and it started in the 4th inning when Vern Rule faced Gary Maddox. You decide, did he catch it or not? Can't decide, right? Well, apparently the umpires couldn't decide either, and first ruled that Rule did catch the ball. The result was at first thought to be a triple play, which eventually became a double play in the Phillies' 5-3 10-inning win. The next night, Gary Maddox singled in the 10th to give the Phillies the lead after they had trailed the Astros 5-2 in the 8th. 3 outs later, the Phils had won their first National League pennant since the Whiz Kids of 1950 and would go on to defeat the Kansas City Royals for their first World Championship ever.
I guess it's got to be more gratifying to win a pennant or to become world champions doing it the way we did it. Slapping hands, hugging each other, a lot of prayers during the games, a lot of heart displayed on the baseball field. We didn't really blow people away, you know what I mean? We played a close game every day. We were emotionally drained after every series. Teams were wondering if we could get up for the next game. Going into the World Series, the issue was, do the Phillies have anything left after Montreal going into the playoffs? Do the Phillies have any emotion left? And we were always able to muster up enough emotion to conquer the next foe.
Mets played in the first National League Championship Series, and in 1973 they were involved in a fierce battle to get into another one. As late as August the 17th, the Mets were in last place, but in early September, New York began to win with regularity, and with 1 week left in the season, they played the Pirates with first place at stake.
The 2-1 pitch. Hit in the air to left field. It's deep. Back goes Jones by the fence. It hits the top of the fence. Comes back in play. Jones grabs it. The relay throw to the plate. They may get him. He's out. He's out at the plate. An incredible play.
Well, if that one play was any indication, then the Mets obviously had luck on their side. But they also had a remarkable pitching staff, and by the end of the week, first place was theirs. On the final weekend of the season, the Mets traveled to Chicago and put on a performance reminiscent of 1969. The Mets might not have had the best record in baseball, but they proved they could win when they had to.
Now the stretch by McGraw, the 3-2 delivery, the runner goes, and a little pop-up. Milner grabs it. He'll run to first. Double play. The Mets win the pennant. The Mets have just won the pennant in the Eastern Division.
That win earned the Mets the right to play the Cincinnati Reds in a frenzied playoff that will best be remembered by an altercation at second base between the Mets' Bud Harrelson and Pete Rose of the Reds. Although the tension continued throughout the series, the hostilities ended, and the Mets won the final game behind the pitching of Tug McGraw and Tom Seaver to reach the series. In 1967, they called it the Great Race, and through the final week of the season, 4 teams fought for the American League pennant. The Boston Red Sox were the fans' favorites, rising from 9th place just a year earlier to pennant contenders in one season. And the story behind the Fenway miracle rested mainly on one man, Carl Yastrzemski.
Well hit. Yastrzemski going back. One-handed grab. He made the catch.
With the As on his way to winning the Triple Crown, Boston entered the final weekend of the season just 1 game behind the Minnesota Twins. That is until Yaz led the Red Sox to a 6-4 win in the second-to-last game of the year.
Deep to right field. Number 44.
Then on Sunday, Yaz would play the hero again.
Base hit to center. Lonborg scores. Adair will score. It's tied up.
The Red Sox took a lead into the 9th inning, and Rich Rollins was the last batter.
Little soft pop-up. Petrocelli will take it. He does. The ball game is over. The Red Sox win it. And what a mob on this field. They're coming out of the stands from all over.
And the Red Sox had captured their impossible dream. Unfortunately for Red Sox fans, their memories haven't always been that pleasant. For example, there was the time the Sox and the Cleveland Indians struggled through an entire season only to tie on the final day. The result was the first American League playoff game ever. Going into the final weekend of the season, the Indians had apparently won a close 3-team race, which also involved the Yankees, but Cleveland threw away a 9th-inning lead in its final game, and the playoff resulted. The 1-game showdown was played in Fenway Park on a cold October day, and the hero of the hour turned out to be the Indians' player-manager, shortstop Lou Boudreau. Boston fans had hoped to see their first Intercity World Series, inasmuch as the Boston Braves were the National League representatives, but Boudreau helped spoil the day when he hit 2 home runs. Meanwhile, Gene Bearden won his 20th game of the year, and the Indians beat the Red Sox 8-3.